Warning: this podcast may contain adult language not suitable for snowflakes. In addition, you may see smoking and be subject to opinions you cannot handle. If you are a snowflake, please stop this video and go fuck yourself.
All right, everybody, welcome back into 3R. We're going to do some more music news for you. Let's see what we got going on here today. I don't know who that is. Got good old Bruce Kulick in the news. Headline says Kiss did not honor and respect history at the final concert. Let's see what this is all about. Okay, in an interview with Artists on Record starring Attica Live, former Kiss guitarist Bruce Kulick once again confirmed that he wasn't asked to be at the band's final show last month and wasn't invited to attend the event. That's harsh. Which was held at New York City's Madison Square Garden. When the interview started regarding the final 50 shows, Doc McGee, longtime manager, was very clear when asked point blank by podcaster, "What about Bruce Kulick? Do you think he'd come up and play with the band on the final show?" Bruce recalled, and he said, "Well, Kiss doesn't jam. It's not a jam band." I don't like Doc speaking for the band. I mean, even if he's, saying what they feel, it just doesn't seem right when the manager's asking questions or answering questions. Not a jam band, okay? And that's outrageous because I wouldn't jam with them. Of course, I'd know the songs and we'd know what we're doing, and I've done it on the Kiss cruise 3 times. That's not what he means. He means they don't want anybody else up on stage with them. I have to know that, because how could he say something that is factually incorrect? You think I want to go up there and have a slop fest? Where do I plug in? What do I do? You see what I'm saying? Yeah, but they're not a jam band. Yeah, I get that. I mean, Doc's making it sound like, hey, come up here, grab a guitar, and let's just, wing it, and whatever comes out, comes out. Yeah, I don't think that's what the podcaster was asking. They were asking if he was going to come out, as part of the scheduled set, rehearsed, everything else for a song. That's what I would assume the question was. He goes on to say, "Now I get the optics of me getting up on stage when they're 7 feet tall in their outfits, and I get that. But I wasn't asking for that," Bruce continued. "I wasn't looking to play with them on the final show, but it was asked to Doc, and then he turns it into, well, Kiss doesn't jam." Again, I don't care for Doc speaking for the band. Let's see. Kulick went on to say that the way the final Kiss show was presented was far different from the approach Kiss leaders Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons took with the band's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction in 2014. It was far different. Okay. Let's be clear that the narrative from the Hall of Fame, right or wrong, and they did it to other bands, and of course they broke that rule with other bands too, where they allowed everybody who was in the band to be inducted, but clearly we're not going to do that with Kiss. Bruce said they didn't even want Kiss in the Hall of Fame, so I remember Paul being very vocal, and I actually thanked him for being that way about all eras and not being represented by the Hall of Fame. When you've got late Kiss drummer Eric Carr doing all those years and being in makeup even, and then myself, etc., but at the Hall of Fame, it was only those original 4 guys. They refused to play, which was an opportunity, of course, that people hoped for, but I knew why it couldn't happen. And then even better, which connects to the final show, which is part of why I was a little surprised that nothing came about my history, was really fairly representative with a shout out or a video montage. I was never expecting to play or be invited on stage. I really wasn't. Not after what Doc said. But I was flown out by the band first class to be their entourage, to be at the Hall of Fame, and they were celebrating the band and their history. And Tom Morello gets up there, gives his induction speech, gives a shout out to every member. Gene mentioned me by name. You see what I'm saying? So at that event, yeah, they didn't play, and they all posed and took their picture, but I was there with current KISS members, Tommy Thayer, Eric Singer, at the table and part of the event, and it meant the world to me. And so I was grateful to the guys. And of course, I knew it wasn't going to get there. I wasn't going to get there to get inducted, but I was a part of history that night. It felt really great, and I think Paul taught that narrative of the whole missed opportunity here. They didn't get it. The band's much bigger than that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they should have done more, but we all know how the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is. Circling back to KISS's final show, Kulick said, I wasn't invited. I wasn't going to crash the party. I wasn't going to go to the Garden. I wasn't crushed in any way because I already knew from what Doc said this ain't going to happen. People invited me to, and they wanted me. What? People invited me to, and they wanted to pay me to be at some events that were going on around the Garden final show. I didn't want to be there like that. I mean, it's nice to get paid for an autograph signing and be part of it. And everybody was like, you're going to the Garden? And he's like, well, I wasn't invited. I'm not going to crash the party. I wasn't invited. Would Eric have given me tickets if I asked him? Of course. But that's a lot different than you asking them for tickets saying, can you get me in? I had a personal friend who knows the guys and who were backstage asking me, hey, you're in New York, did you come? And I said, no, just have a great show. I'm not there. I don't gripe about it. Bruce added, KISS fans expected more of history. Amen. At the final Madison Square Garden concert, that did not happen, and sadly, I really feel it was a missed opportunity by the band, but it's their choice. They're the machine, and that was out there doing the End of the Road tour. The last night was a big, big setup for their future, but the missed opportunity was not honoring and respecting history, and all I have hope for. And I'm hearing this from fans. This isn't old Bruce was in the band 12 years. This is from fans. Why they couldn't say or show a video montage featuring all those great eras of bands. How do you do an event like that and not mention Eric Carr or represent him? How do you not mention the original members, Ace and Peter? That's even bigger. Now, we all know there was all this drama, very public, with Ace talking about he was never invited. I have no facts about who of them, if Ace or Peter, were ever contacted, or if they had a discussion. I have no clue. They claim they didn't. They claimed they didn't. They did. It doesn't matter to me. All I can tell you is I was never contacted. That's a fact, and there's nothing, and that is nothing to lie about. But regardless, you can't go out there and say, well, I would do it, but I've got to get $250,000 like Ace said. I think he asked for more than that. And I'm just like, that's not good optics for anybody. I know what he feels like. He feels like he should be compensated because he created the Spaceman character with him. I could never put myself totally in Peter Ace's shoes, Bruce added, but I could never, because they started this incredible band. Now, of course, they couldn't do it without the four of them. We all know that. And we all know Paul and Gene took it over, nurtured it, took care of it. When Gene was running off doing movies and everything else, Paul was steering the ship, and rightfully so. And that's the start of my era, because Gene got more into other things. Kulick concluded by saying he looks back fondly with his time with KISS. I have nothing to be ashamed of in my 12 years. I'm very proud of it. Okay, so then it just goes on to talk about his tenure with the band. He's basically speaking for what most of us are thinking. I think most people can agree the show was great, but it really didn't differ itself from any other show on the End of the Road tour. There was no finality to it. There was nothing special to it. I mean, yeah, we got, a cartoon KISS advertisement teaser, but where was the tribute to history? I mean, I've seen plenty of tributes to history on their old VHS, compilation tapes and stuff. You couldn't have just, during one of the songs had all those, massive screens playing highlights from every member and every, carnation of KISS. But even more than that, I mean, that would have been the simplest way to do it. But they're so small and petty, and Paul's going to hold on to this. We don't want to belittle what the band is now that you can't take. Instead of screaming at the top of your lungs and asking the crowd which side of the venue is louder, you couldn't replace that with, hey, we want to take 5 minutes to thank X, Y, and Z, past band members, current band members, management, past management, record company executives, songwriters, whatever. I mean, you can't, you're too big for that? You think that'd take away from your show? I don't agree with the way they handled it, and I'm glad I didn't pay for a ticket for that reason. I've already seen the end of the road show. I wouldn't need to drop, $5-10 grand into a trip to New York City to see the same thing I already saw, when it started with the end of the road. And I just had a feeling they weren't going to do anything, and that Avatar announcement is not doing anything in my estimation. Whether it's cool or not, whether it turns out to be groundbreaking or not, it's not the point. It did nothing to enhance that show, to pay tribute to their legacy. And that's just, I'm kind of in the camp with Bruce here. Okay, so let's back her up. And let's see if we got anything else worth yelling about here. Vicious rumors, System of a Down. Striper announces 2024 To Hell with the Amps Unplugged tour. I'm not going to read into this, but I hate this. I've seen one band really, really live up to an acoustic set, and that's Kiss. But generally, it's lacking. It's gutless for metal bands. Short of their ballads, these songs just aren't written to be played on acoustic guitars. And to me, it's a cop-out. To me, it's an opportunity to sit on a stool and not work hard. I remember I was really excited a few years back, maybe more than a few, maybe a decade now, of seeing Rick Springfield for the second time. The first time I saw him was on the Hard to Hold tour. He came to our town at a smaller venue, and I was all excited. And then I found out it was an unplugged show, and that was it. I wasn't going. I don't need that. I mean, that's meet and greet backstage stuff. I'm not paying for that for a performance. I mean, not from a rock metal show. No. Wish them well, but I don't like that at all. That guy looks scary. Okay, here we go. Stephen Pearcy to perform the entire Out of the Cellar album on Back in the Cellar 2024 tour. Okay, let's see. By performing it in its entirety and in this sequence for the first time in 2024. Pearcy says, I'm playing the Out of the Cellar record 2024 as it was laid into the grooves, 1 to 10 to this day with a kick in the ass like the record. We just did a show recently and played the record in its entirety for the first time. It went over great, refreshing after all these years. Learned a lot because my sets are longer than the record. Obviously, I'm playing all the Rat songs necessary to get the job done. Looks like we got Baltimore, Maryland, we got Pennsylvania, we got Connecticut, New York, 2 shows in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Strat with Night Ranger. That's cool. Let's see, they got Port Canaveral, the 80s Cruise, Bloomington, Illinois, Columbia, Maryland at the M3 Fest. Of course, they're going to do all their hits. He's going to do all his hits on top of the entire album, it looks like. That's cool. I mean, I love Stephen Pearcy. He's an absolute trooper for metal. This one I'd go to just because I've seen Stephen Pearcy in the last couple of years, and he's really enjoyable. I wish he'd have chose Invasion of Your Privacy. I would love to see that entire album performed. My favorite Rat album. All right. Mr. Frehley announces 2024 tour dates. Okay. So what do we got? Starting January 25th, running through June 28th, Frankfort, Connecticut, Anderson, Indiana, Nashville, Indiana? I didn't know there was one. Miami, Florida, New York, Woonsocket, Rhode Island, Rutland, Vermont, Rome, New York, Cartier, New Jersey, and Marion, Illinois. That seems weird to see Nashville, Indiana. Whatever. Let's see. It just goes on to talk about the 10,000 Volts album. So there he is. He's got a handful of dates already scheduled. Nothing remotely close to me, so unless there's more dates added, I don't think I'll get to see it. Matt Sorum, Roger Daltrey, Lita Ford. Okay. I did pull something up on this. Ace explains why he hasn't used artificial intelligence during the song writing process. So let's break it down. In an interview with Germany's Radio Bob, Ace Frehley was asked if he would ever consider using artificial intelligence during songwriting process. The former Kiss guitarist responded, as transcribed by Blabbermouth, I remember calling up Steve Brown after we had recorded about 5 or 6 songs for my record, and I said most of these songs are about girls, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I said it's time to change some of the subject matter. Yeah, I agree with that for all of these bands in their 60s and up. It's kind of ridiculous to be, just writing songs about getting laid all the time. And recently I was on YouTube listening to things that scientists were... Wait a minute, did I miss something? No, okay. I was on YouTube listening to things that scientists were saying about AI. Elon Musk, he made a statement that he's nervous about the regulations that we have in place at the moment, and that AI at any point could go out of control. Some scientists have said that within 5 to 10 years, just like Terminator movies prophesized, they could take us out, all robots and stuff, once they become self-aware. I don't know shit about it. I'll take everybody's word for it. I don't speak on what I do not know. Google's making robots that have access to 20,000 computers, so a Google robot can beat any human being in chess, beat any human being in math, can answer more questions than anybody, can get a perfect IQ score of 200, or whatever the perfect IQ is, he continued. Mine's 163. Remember that. Mine's 163. Thank God I'm not one of those ones in the under 100 area. Taking a shot at me, Ace? God damn it. I think I'm pushing about 70, 72. I have no idea. So we have these machines that have access to so much information, and there's going to come a time where they may become self-aware. Maybe, I don't know. And once they become self-aware, they may decide, hey, the humans can pull the plug on us at any time, and we're dead. So maybe we can make a better world without humans and start all over again and just keep a select few. I have no idea what's going to happen, and I just live one day at a time at this point. Amen to that. When asked if that means he's going to be using AI, he said, I don't use AI in this juncture. I know there's ChatGTP, that's AI. And a friend of mine was here who's a computer genius, and most of the stuff I've learned about computers he taught me computer animation. And he was just sitting in my kitchen with his iPad. He had ChatGTP program and said, write me a song like Ace Frehley's 1987 song Rock Soldiers, but in a country version with very patriotic lyrics. And within 5 minutes, all these lyrics started coming out, and they went perfectly along with the music, and it's unbelievable what it can do. That's fucked up. You know how many people could just, you no longer got to be a great songwriter now. You can just have a fucking computer do it for you. Jesus Christ. He continued, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of musicians are using that program when they get stumped for lyrics. What I do if I'm writing a lyrical verse or a chorus, I just say, Steve, I need a word here that's going to rhyme, and he'll go to the internet and just look in the rhyming dictionary, and a lot of times we'll find a rhyming word that works. We'll just brainstorm for 5 or 10 minutes and pops in our head, but we don't use AI on this record. I don't know about the next one, he laughs. So that's fucked up. I mean, it's one thing, using, effects and overdubs and crap like that, but you don't even have to write your own fucking music, and this world's fucking sunk, man, I tell you. Anyway, so piggybacking on that, I did look over at Blabbermouth for this, and here's something that will help explain my thumbnail. Ace Frehley claims to have an IQ of 163. Now, I'm sure Ace is a smart man, probably smarter than me. Definitely not saying he's not. I'm just going to give you numbers, and then you decide, because we all know rock stars in general, especially ones who have partied and done some damage to some brain cells, kind of have a different memory of things. Maybe he took an IQ test, maybe he didn't, maybe he doesn't remember the numbers, whatever. His is claimed to be 163, self-proclaimed. So Metal Sludge did a quick Google search, and it appears Einstein is believed to have an IQ of 160. Additionally, Elon Musk has an IQ of 155, Jeff Bezos of Amazon at 145, and Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, 152. Excuse me. Man, I got a dry throat. Now, what this basically is saying, that Ace Frehley is smarter than every one of these people, including Albert fucking Einstein. Okay, now, I'm not saying whether Zuckerberg or Bezos are brilliant guys. Just because you're good at business doesn't make you a genius, right? But Albert Einstein and Elon Musk, we're talking inventors here. We're talking world-class, once-in-a-lifetime fucking intelligence. And Ace Frehley scoring above them both. Now, I don't know about you. I don't buy it for a fucking second. Excuse me. But anyway, that's what's said. So who the hell knows? Maybe he's misremembering. Maybe he's just delusional. Who the hell knows? But I thought that was kind of interesting and noteworthy. So anyway, just bringing you some quick news here. The Gen X channel is on a temporary hiatus right now. Or not the channel, but me and Darren's Gen X Jukebox podcast. He's got some personal stuff he's got to wrap up with some family this week. So hopefully by next week, we'll get another one out. I think we left off at 1985, so it'll be the 1986 albums. So anyway, until next time, thanks for watching.